Have you ever wondered what these little chips do above our heads? Well, today I'm going to tell you, and as a bonus, I'll tell you what the self chip does. So first off, you see this little symbol on the top right, this little cube within a cube? That same symbol appears on circuit boards and on object boards for gizmos. And what that symbol means is that if you open your maker pen and hit edit and then edit that chip, there will be other circuits within that chip. So if we hit edit and then we click on the little board above our head, boom, there we have the inside. So where you can place other chips. So for instance, if I get an add chip, I can put it in here somewhere. If I get an event receiver, I can put it in here somewhere. But we have an issue. If I exit out and I save the room, then I try to edit it, you can see all the chips that I put in are now gone. They've all disappeared. How do we get them to stay? So in order for this to work, what we need is a chip called a player definition board. So you notice it looks very similar to the chips above our heads. And just like everything else, it's got that little square within a square symbol. So we can edit it and boom, it's got everything just like the other ones. And if I place certain chips in here, then I stop editing it. Then I go to tools, I configure the player definition board and make sure that it's active. And then I save the room. When you go in to edit the chip above your head now, all those other chips that we just made are now here. And since every player has one of these chips above their heads, that means that a identical copy of the chips we put in here are gonna be within those other players' chips as well. What can you do with this? Well, the first thing you can do with it is detect when players are hit by projectiles or explosion. We're gonna go in here and edit this chip and let's get an event receiver. If we configure this event receiver and bring up this menu here, you see here, explosion hit player. You can't access that outside of a player definition board. Projectile hit player, you can't access that outside. So if we hit projectile hit player, look at all these options that now pop up. You've got firing player, projectile source, hit player, body part, hit damage, hit position, so much extra stuff that we couldn't get beforehand. Now I told you I would also tell you how to use the self chip. If you try to spawn in a self chip out here, it says you're trying to add a node to a graph where it is not allowed. That's because you can only access these self chips within boards that have this little symbol on it. And the way that self works is it's just referencing whatever it's inside of. So if I edit the text, up here we have the self. So it's just referring to the actual text, like whatever the self is. So if I use a self chip within the player definition board, all this is just the player that this is on. So if I put in a get position chip, it's just going to get the position of the player, but the self is going to be different for every single player that the definition board is above. Hopefully that makes sense. I know this tutorial wasn't super detailed like I like them to be, but this is some information that I found out and I thought I had to share it with you guys. So if this video helped you, make sure to support me here on Rec Room. Subscribe, like, all that good stuff. All right, see y'all man out.